The Supreme Court's emergency ruling last night has rocked the nation, sending shockwaves through every corner of American society and leaving millions grappling with the sudden shift in the legal landscape. The right to bear arms, long a fiercely debated issue, has been thrust into the spotlight like never before, reigniting old arguments and sparking new ones in communities large and small. This isn't just another legal decision, it's a pivotal turning point that redefines the delicate balance between individual liberty and public safety, raising urgent questions about the future of gun regulation in America. The ruling's impact is immediate and far-reaching, touching every state and household, and igniting fierce debate across the country as lawmakers, citizens, and advocacy groups scramble to respond. Phones are ringing off the hook in governors' offices and police departments as activists on both sides mobilize, demanding answers and action from their leaders. News cycles are dominated by the story, and the ruling is the top topic everywhere, from social media feeds to dinner tables, from morning radio shows to late-night talk shows. The court's action forces a national conversation that is as urgent as it is divisive, with passionate voices on both sides filling town halls, city squares, and online forums. By acting now, the justices have signaled that the legal conflicts over gun rights could no longer wait, and that the time for decisive action, no matter how controversial, had arrived. The decision challenges the authority of states to regulate firearms, seeking a uniform national standard that could override decades of local laws and traditions. This is a fundamental clash between federal power and states' rights, played out on the stage of the Second Amendment, with both sides claiming to defend the true spirit of the Constitution. Politicians are split. Some celebrate what they see as a victory for constitutional rights and personal freedom, while others warn of judicial overreach and the potential dangers of a one-size-fits-all approach. Law enforcement faces confusion and uncertainty about how to implement these sudden changes, as departments scramble to interpret the new legal landscape and update their policies. Everyday citizens are left wondering what this means for their safety and rights, questioning how their daily lives might change and what the future holds for their communities. The questions are many, the answers few, and the sense of uncertainty is palpable as experts and analysts work to make sense of the court's sweeping decision. Tonight, we begin to unpack the implications of this historic decision, exploring its legal, political, and personal consequences for millions of Americans. The story is just beginning, and the nation is on edge, watching, waiting, and wondering what comes next in this new chapter of American history. To truly grasp the weight and significance of this latest Supreme Court ruling, we must revisit the Second Amendment's long, complex, and often fiercely contested history in American law and society. For centuries, the Supreme Court largely left questions of gun regulation to the individual states, resulting in a patchwork of laws that reflected local values, traditions, and concerns. Everything changed in 2008 with the landmark case District of Columbia versus Heller, where the court, for the first time, explicitly affirmed an individual's right to possess firearms for self-defense within the home, fundamentally reshaping the legal landscape. Just 2 years later, McDonald versus Chicago extended that right to apply against state and local governments, but crucially, the court left open the question of how far government could go in regulating guns, especially when it came to carrying firearms outside the home. This ambiguity fueled years of heated legal battles and debates over public carry, permit systems, and the boundaries of regulation, as lower courts struggled to interpret the Supreme Court's guidance. The 2022 Bruen decision marked another seismic shift, striking down New York's May issue permit law and demanding that all gun regulations must align with the nation's historical tradition, rather than modern policy arguments. Bruen's new test quickly invalidated similar laws in other states and opened the door to a flood of new legal challenges against a wide range of existing restrictions, from magazine limits to bans on certain types of firearms. The legal landscape shifted dramatically almost overnight, setting the stage for the emergency ruling we're examining now, and leaving lawmakers and citizens alike scrambling to adapt. The Supreme Court's approach now centers almost entirely on historical precedent, rather than balancing public safety concerns, fundamentally changing how courts evaluate gun laws. This dramatic shift has triggered a wave of litigation, confusion, and uncertainty, as courts, lawmakers, and the public try to navigate the new legal reality. Last night's decision is the latest and perhaps the most dramatic turn in this ongoing legal saga, with consequences that will ripple through American law and society for years to come. The emergency ruling in United States versus Patterson has quickly become a flashpoint in the ongoing national debate over gun rights and state authority. This decision is a direct extension of Bruin's principles, reinforcing the Supreme Court's recent approach to Second Amendment cases. The case challenged a wave of new state laws that, while technically shall issue, imposed steep psychological evaluations, costly training requirements, and broad restrictions on carrying firearms in public spaces. Petitioners argued these measures were not genuine safety regulations, but deliberate attempts to sidestep the Supreme Court's Bruin decision and undermine constitutional rights. Justice Thomas's majority opinion was blunt and unequivocal. He wrote that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right, and states cannot create de facto bans through excessive or burdensome requirements. As a result, the court blocked enforcement of these regulations, at least temporarily, pending a full hearing on their constitutionality. In one state, for example, permit costs soared from $100 to an astonishing $2,500, and approvals for concealed carry permits plummeted by 90%, effectively locking out most applicants. The court declared in strong terms, a right that is prohibitively expensive or practically impossible to exercise is in reality no right at all. This ruling signals that the court will now scrutinize not just the letter of gun laws, but also their real-world impact on ordinary Americans' ability to exercise their rights. Dissenting justices, led by Justice Sotomayor, warned that this intervention strips states of their ability to protect citizens, undermines public safety, and bypasses the democratic process that allows local communities to set their own standards. The bench is sharply divided, mirroring the nation's deep and passionate split on gun rights, with both sides mobilizing supporters and legal teams. The legal and political battle is only beginning, as states, advocacy groups, and citizens brace for further court challenges and legislative responses. The stakes could not be higher, with the outcome poised to shape the future of gun rights and state power in America for years to come. In the wake of the ruling, confusion reigns in state governments and law enforcement. Attorneys general are urgently reviewing whether their laws still stand, as the court's language threatens similar regulations nationwide. Police chiefs are left in limbo, unsure how to instruct officers on encounters with armed citizens. Some states have halted permit processing entirely, leaving citizens in a legal gray area. Gun rights groups urge caution, while gun control advocates push for new legislative solutions. The intended clarity of the ruling has instead created administrative chaos and heightened tension. States, police, and the public are left to navigate this uncertain new reality. The political response has been swift and deeply partisan. Conservatives hail the ruling as a triumph for constitutional freedom and a check on state overreach. Progressives decry it as a dangerous setback for public safety, vowing to fight back through legislation and the courts. The decision is set to dominate the next election cycle, energizing both sides. Internationally, the ruling reinforces America's unique and controversial relationship with guns. Allies watch with concern as the U.S. diverges further from global norms. The fallout is reshaping both domestic politics and America's image abroad. The economic impact was immediate. Firearm manufacturers' stocks surged as investors anticipated a boom in sales. Local gun shops, especially in states with newly loosened laws, are bracing for a flood of new customers seeking firearms, training, and accessories. And this could mean a windfall for small businesses, but also logistical headaches as they scramble to meet demand. Critics warn of hidden costs. Increased gun violence can depress property values, raise healthcare expenses, and deter tourism. Some organizations may avoid states with more permissive gun laws, impacting conventions and events. The economic ripple effect is complex, creating both winners and losers. The debate over the true cost of the Second Amendment is only intensifying. The ruling's financial consequences will be felt far beyond Wall Street. The ruling fundamentally alters Americans' sense of public space. More legally armed citizens in everyday settings will change social dynamics, heightening both awareness and anxiety. Some may feel safer, others more fearful. Behavior in public spaces will shift. The decision deepens the cultural divide. For some, guns symbolize freedom and self-reliance. For others, they represent violence and insecurity. These worldviews are nearly irreconcilable, and the ruling widens the gap. Society faces a psychological adjustment, recalibrating notions of safety and trust. The polarization over guns is now sharper than ever. The social fabric of the nation is being tested. To unpack the legal reasoning, we turn to Professor Anya Sharma, a leading Second Amendment scholar. She explains the core issue. The court now uses a history and tradition test, requiring modern gun laws to have historical analogs. The Patterson ruling is a strict application of this test, rejecting modern regulations without clear historical precedent. Sharma notes the challenge. Applying 18th century standards to 21st century realities is fraught with difficulty. The dissent warns this approach ties lawmakers' hands in addressing modern threats. The majority insists fidelity to the Constitution demands it. Sharma predicts a new wave of litigation challenging everything from red flag laws to background checks. The legal battles are far from over. The future of gun regulation is more uncertain than ever. America stands at a crossroads. The Supreme Court's ruling has redrawn the map of the gun debate, stripping states of key regulatory tools and deepening national divides. The immediate result is confusion and outrage. The long-term consequences will shape the nation for decades. The court's majority is committed to a robust, history-based interpretation of the Second Amendment, clashing with modern legislative efforts. Political and social polarization will only intensify. The next chapter will be written in state houses, courtrooms, and the court of public opinion. This is not a moment for passivity. Every American has a stake in the outcome. The questions raised are fundamental. How do we balance rights and safety? How do we honor history while facing today's challenges? The answers will define our future. The story is still being written, and its conclusion is up to us.